Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and we have Halloween news to talk about. Woke up in the middle of the night. My 1.5-year-old decided she was going to pull an all-nighter, and I looked down at my phone, and there we have it. Dwight Little, who you may or may not know from Halloween 4, happens to be my favorite Halloween flick, has made an official Halloween 4 sequel pitch. So naturally, every Halloween content creator on the internet is talking about this on Saturday. And if you live where we live, it's Snowmageddon outside right now. So joining me from Backtrack Cinema, it's Mr. Jason Knight. What's going on, dude? How are you?
Man, I'm good, man. Thank you for inviting me. And yeah, this is cool. I mean, Halloween 4 is not my favorite, but I think it's definitely in the upper half for sure. And I do like the characters of Rachel and Jamie Lloyd for sure.
Where does it rank for you, you figure, man? I know you and I haven't talked, like we've talked in person and in private conversations how we feel about Halloween 4, but I don't think you've been on this channel a whole ton talking about how you feel about Halloween 4. I know for me, it's just the movie that resonated with me the most the first night that I was introduced to the franchise. And it just sort of stuck with me, and I find the characters are more relatable in that movie. But for you, where does it rank? I mean, there's 13 of these things. Not all of them are good.
Well, I did my ranking quite a while ago, but if memory serves me correct, I think around 5 or 6. So it's I do like it. There's just some things I don't like about it, but I think the ending is one of the best endings though in horror. Yeah, maybe in horror. It has one of the. That's the thing I remember the most as a kid watching it. Is that ending with Jamie Lloyd holding the knife, and I thought, man, if number 5 would have took that idea and ran with it, I think they could have had something special. But fortunately, that didn't happen.
Yeah, it's probably a top 3 ending for me in Halloween. I know a lot of I don't know how you feel about this, man, but when you watch other content creators, and it's not a knock on them by any means, but do you find more often than not when someone's talking about Halloween, Friday the 13th, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, just any franchise, Bond, Jaws, although Jaws is warranted, do you find that most people gravitate towards the original in a series? And just automatically the other movies don't have a chance of being on the same level. I'm not someone that does that personally, but
I don't know. For me, with Halloween anyway, I just love the original because it's my kind of filmmaking. I like that slow burn atmosphere kind of stuff. Like I was just watching Rosemary's Baby with my wife before we come on here. That's my kind of horror movie. When it gets psychological, I don't mind slow as long as I like some of the characters, as long as it's doing what it has to. But Friday the 13th, number 6 is my favorite. I mean, Nightmare on Elm Street, the original is my favorite. Star Wars, I don't. A New Hope may be my 6th, 7th favorite in the Star Wars franchise.
Star Wars was a bad example, although I believe,
yeah.
if you ask my oldest son, he'll tell you A New Hope's the best. And I believe if you ask Tommy B, he's not here right now, he might be joining us later, that he also thinks A New Hope is the best. So A New Hope does have, their backers, but I do think with Star Wars, most of the time it goes to The Empire Strikes Back.
And some movies just they do a complete tone shift, like Alien to Aliens. I'm more of an Aliens guy. I love Alien 2 though, and like T1, T2, I'm a T1 guy, but I wouldn't knock anyone for saying T2 is the best in the franchise. I think that's a discussion it just depends on the franchise, the movie, when you saw it, maybe. Like when you saw it, like I saw Halloween 4 actually before Halloween 1, but I was such a Friday guy that Halloween 4, when I saw it as a kid, I was like, it didn't jive with me as good as I like it a lot more now. But when I was a kid, it was just that ending. I watch it now and I'm like, I don't like the mask. Like I'm on that fence where I think it really hurts the film. I'm not big on the performance of Michael, but there's that one scene where he's sitting in the rocking chair and he fools. They think it's the sheriff or the cop there. I love that scene. I thought
Yeah.
now we're getting into some classic, really Halloween stuff.
Yeah,
But
a lot of people love that scene. That scene's full of karma, if you ask me.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
uh, um, I don't know. When I think about Halloween endings, Halloween 4 is right there with the original. The original's not my favorite Halloween. But you shoot the boogeyman, he falls off the second story balcony, and you go and he's gone. And like that's just like imagine if they never made another Halloween movie. That's the end right there. Michael just gets up and walks away. That's pretty freaky, and that's
yeah,
what the original intent was.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. I think one. I like the original Halloween too as well. I've really grown to like that one though. I didn't like it so much a few years ago, but really grown to like Halloween 2, the original. I think the 1 and 2 are really good um um companions. Like they're really good back to back, and I'm a fan of Halloween 2018 as well. I don't like the other two as much. They're lower in my ranking, but Halloween 2018 I think comes at third for me, if I remember correctly. So
Check the StreamYards chat when you can, man. But in the meantime, we're here today to discuss the fact that Dwight B. Little, has made a pitch for a sequel to Halloween 4, meaning you don't need to dig too far to realize that this sequel would essentially replace Halloween 5. Now,
yeah,
um, we're going to pull up the article and read from it, but I already see a bunch of people maybe taking the wrong conclusion from this. And I do think there are tidbits in the article. 2024, that's what you get, right? Like people will read the headline and assume they know everything and every piece of information and jump to conclusions, but sometimes it helps to read. And when you read all the way through, there's a couple of glaring things that stand out to me that makes me think that this might be dated a little bit. And we'll get to all that in just a moment, and we will pull up the article. We're just expressing our thoughts here off the top. And before I do, I just want to give a big thank you to those that sponsor the channel. Guys like Jason himself, Backtrack Cinema, Jesse, Storytime Spectacular, and Ryan at Colleague Nation. Without you guys, we would not be doing this. So it's appreciated what you guys do. Hoping Jason got that message. And I can pull it up. But also a big thanks to our patrons that donate and support the channel each and every month. Again, without any of you, we would not be here doing what we do. Jason, why don't you take over here for a second and let everyone know what you got going on at your channel?
oh, holy crap, a ton. I'm in the process right now putting a huge award show together for the 1980s. So a 1980s award show, 30 categories. I've been dropping nominees on my shorts. So I'm going to be doing that on YouTube shorts, like, best screenplay of the 80s, best movie of the 80s, best animated film of the 80s. I already did a huge votes on my polls in my community tab to decide what was the best. So it was more of a people's choice. It's like I don't vote at all. So that's the big project right now. I just did this video that you guys are seeing right now. That's up now with all the good names are taken podcast. What is the best 80s action movie? So we took 8 movies. We took First Blood, Die Hard, Lethal Weapon, Commando, Predator, Aliens, Rambo 2, and The Terminator. And we just discussed which one is the best. So go check that out. This month I'm doing 70s action primarily. So I've done I did recently The Gauntlet with Clint Eastwood in it. I got The Lost Boys coming up because I just watched that and just throwing that in there. But I'm
Lost
going
Boys,
back to
great.
70. I'm going back to 70s action. I'm trying to mostly, so I'd like to get the French Connection out this month. I would like to get Mad Max out, the original. I may do, this is not exactly action, but it qualifies. I'm going to try and do an original Superman review from 1978. You kind of inspired me for that, Sean, after you dropped your Smallville podcast stuff. So I was like, you know what? That's it. It's an action movie. It's 70s. It's groundbreaking for its time. and I really like that movie. So every month this year, I thought I'd just do a different theme. So I'll like February will be a different theme, March will be a different theme. So I basically, guys talk a lot of action, 70% action, 30% horror, but more 70s, 80s, 90s, going back in the past. If I do any new content, like new movies, I may drop it on a YouTube short or something, but I feel like my niche is growing into that kind of thing, and it's what I'm passionate about. So if you like that stuff, you'll like my channel.
There's nothing wrong with doing what you're passionate about. I think there's, it doesn't take rocket science to figure out that Halloween and horror are what pushes this channel financially. But and honestly, so does Game of Thrones. Honestly, the Westeros material does really well for us on this channel and our other channel. But the Star Wars stuff and the wrestling stuff, that's more of like a added passion that we cover on the channel. Not that we don't get
Right.
anything from it,
Right.
but that's not where the focus has been for years since we've been doing this. And then Smallville. Smallville's been a diehard passion of mine since I was a kid, and it's something Jade and I have watched over the years, and she's wanted to get involved on some level. So we thought, why not do a Smallville rewatch podcast? So later this month, again, that will not be live. We just don't have the ability to both be live. We got two small children here, so when we can, we'll record bits and pieces, and I'll have the tedious task of morphing it together into a functionable episode of YouTube content. So definitely be on the lookout for that. We're already well ahead of the game there. We're going to be having guests on. It's going to be like a slow thing, right? It's not something that we're going to run through or race through. We're not going to be, getting to episode number 2 or 3 on the Legacy of Smallville, and like that's just it. We're going to be taking it one episode at a time. So it'll be a slow burn, and you'll definitely be able to check that out.
I really like that idea. I like the idea of returning to an old show and doing an episode on like each episode. I think that's great. I think I remember that came out when in my early 20s, that show, and I really liked it. I was really into that show.
I think again we'll get back to the Halloween content. I promise you're just doing some housekeeping. But I think Smallville changed the comic book genre at the time that it came out. Debuted right after 9/11. So like it just kind of like Star Wars, it was the right thing at the right time, and it took off. It went for an entire decade, which is hard to do in TV. With really good ratings too. Not to mention, it's not like they had they fell off a cliff or whatever. The show stayed pretty strong.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to that, and we're gonna have people like Johnny and Tommy and maybe even yourself on occasionally to just do specific episodes. So we're gonna take our time with it, and you'll be able to catch that Thursday. Probably not nights. It'll probably debut earlier Thursday in the day since it's not live. And the first episode is slated for later this month. So check that out. The Legacy of Smallville live on the channel. That brings us back to Halloween 4. The sequel has been pitched. Here, Jason, Dean and I have a stream coming up this Monday where we're doing our own TV series pitches and more for the Halloween TV series, how we would go about structuring the show and what would make sense with Michael Myers involved. So people will be able to check that out Monday night. I think that's a 10 p.m. start time. So check it out there. But let me ask you this. Just in general, in concept, in your opinion, is there any way to make a Halloween 4 sequel TV series work for more than just like the niche audience that likes the movie?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think definitely because you have these two characters. One's got her mom ripped away from her, like Laurie Strode. There's a lot going on there. You got this past, I guess, because this would be when they're older now, right? You have this past, and to see where they are, like what happened. If we're just going from the end of 4, right? That's what we're assuming. Okay. What happened to Jamie Lloyd? Did she go freaking crazy? Did she end up maybe not killing someone, but did she almost maybe go on this path of like the same path Michael did, or did something in her psyche stop, or you know what I mean? Maybe, and she's got that history that she's battling with that internal uh demon inside of her, I guess. And Rachel being, the stepsister, I guess, who helps her through this, they would have a really serious bond. You know what I mean? And I think there is something there, not just in horror. I think you could make a good character show that develops with these two. Like I'm not the know-it-all or everything of Halloween, but I think there's definitely something there. If you see what they did with Psycho with the Bates Motel, if you like, that was insane. That was really good. That show is like one of my favorites. You know what I mean? So I think there's definitely something there you could do with these two characters, with the focus on them for sure. Especially if you could get the original, if you could get Danielle Harris back, and I've what's her name,
Ellie Cornell.
Ellie. If you get them back, I mean, I think that would be great. Like there's especially with Jamie Lloyd, there's it almost reminds me of I don't want to get into the politics of what happened, but the girl who got fired from Scream. I really liked her character.
Melissa.
Yeah, I really liked her character in Scream because she was her father being the psychopath. She was battling that internally, and I really like that about her character. And I'm not a huge Scream fan at all, but I like that concept of what they're going for. And maybe that's the same with Jamie Lloyd here. Maybe there's a battle between her good nature and that evil nature.
It's almost like taking a little bit of a Hereditary, not the movie, but like Hereditary in general,
Yeah.
influence on how they shape the story. Excuse me. But okay, so before we dive into this article and see exactly what Dwight said, I just want to say that for me, if you're not going to get Danielle Harris and Ellie Cornell back, the project's dead. Like, it just is. Not that you can't have a story post H4 work with different people playing the characters, but we already watched how the franchise received that once with Halloween 6, and it did not go swimmingly. Despite what version of the movie that you might prefer, most of the fan base was quite vocal about not liking the fact that Danielle Harris was dumped. I think the second that you were to announce a new Halloween movie or TV series, in this case a TV series, since Miramax has won the rights, the second you announce someone else, I'm not saying that you said that either, but if you don't get those back, those two actresses back, like instant online hate. You know how it is online, man. You get one thing and it's just, it doesn't matter what it is. Everything is divisive now online. You post anything and you're going to have, one group of people taking up one side, another group of people taking up another, and then a select group of people creating a whole side that only exists in their heads.
Oh yeah. It's the way it is now. I mean, I didn't really like Dial of Destiny that much. I thought it had a lot of problems, but I was still entertained by it. It's not like this is the worst fucking thing I've ever fucking seen. You know what I mean? You gotta be a pretty bad movie to get to 1 star. Let's just put it that way. You gotta be pretty bad, as far as I'm concerned. But I'm a bit more positive than most people out there. So
Sorry about that, man. By the way, anybody who's in the chat right now, live chat, whether you're live on the Legacy of Halloween on Facebook, Fandom Empire Now, or the Fandom Empire YouTube channel, feel free to insert your thoughts below. What would you do for a Halloween 4 sequel series? Share them there, whether it's in the live stream or after the fact, just in the comment section. If you want to support the channel on another level, we also offer a Patreon program that we mentioned earlier and showed the patrons, but that is patreon.com/Fandom Empire for more. Look, for me, dude, at the end of the day, it kind of comes down to how you shape your story, right? Like, immediately, it doesn't work for me unless you're bringing those two back. And Dwight has already said that his pitch centered around the two of them. So, like you, I think there's a story to tell. You're talking about stepsisters. You're talking about one that has gone through this traumatic. Like, think about where H4 ends. H4 ends with Jamie at the top of the stairs holding a pair of scissors, dressed as young Michael, and Loomis is about to blow her head off. Stop it. Like, that's the end of H4.
Yeah.
Where do you pick up? Is it a period piece and you do recast and you get young Jamie and a younger Rachel? They could do that, I suppose. But I'd be much more interested in going forward 25, 30 years and seeing, the fallout. Where are those characters now? And some might argue there's not even a reason to include Michael Myers in it, but obviously a Halloween project, if you want it to be successful, people are paying to see Michael Myers.
Yeah, see, the thing that's always interested me the most is someone picking up. Well, I didn't like the way they did in Halloween Ends, obviously, but picking up Myers, like with Jamie Lloyd, like the way if number 5 would have been her out there, like a crazy little freaking Michael, I would have loved that. I think that would have been an interesting way to go, completely interesting. But you got to have the guy in the mask, right? Apparently.
Well, Linton, I just want to say, man, you've been a longtime supporter of the channel, and my words obviously aren't going to do too much to lift your spirits more than likely, but you have our condolences on behalf of Jason, myself, and everybody else at Fandom Empire. Anything you need, man, just drop a message. You can reach out to us on various forms of social media if you just need to talk. We get it. People go through things, and that's awful, man. We're thinking about you.
Absolutely, dude. Just hang in there. Hang in there.
All right, let's dive into this article a little bit here. I don't want to read the entire thing, so let's just highlight certain parts here. The subject of Halloween came up with Little while speaking with her friends at Bloody Disgusting to promote his memoir, Still Rolling, Inside the Hollywood Dream Factory. See, I didn't even... I've only read a blurb of this before now, so there was no prep. And I didn't even know he had a memoir coming out. So that'll be, I'm sure there'll be all sorts of neat little things in there about his time making H4. And his recent horror film, Natty Knox, which I still have not seen. When asked if he'd be interested in working on the Halloween TV series, Little said, "Oh, definitely. I know Maleka Cat is guiding that, but it's really Universal's play. I mean, I think they're really... ... I would love to do it with Halloween 4 writer Alan McElroy, which, that would be fantastic. Getting those two together again, and Danielle and oh my God, Ellie Cornell. That'd be, I'd be thrilled. But again, there's a deeper issue at root here. Of course, we have to be invited, and I'm sure they have people that they're interested in. So we'll see how it plays out. Excuse me. But sure, I would jump into that for a minute. Where are we here? Asked if he would make a direct sequel to H4 if given the opportunity, Little said, "Not only would I do it, I've actually pitched it. You keep Rachel alive and follow through with the Jamie and Rachel storyline. Ellie Cornell is alive as well on the East Coast. And I just worked with Danielle Harris, and she's a doll. I think it's a great movie. I think they should call it Halloween 4 Part 2. That's terrible. Just be upfront about it and say what it is. That's what it would be, in my own opinion. More than a TV show, I think it would get a lot of attention." So, has he made a pitch? And the answer would be yes. Yes, he has made a pitch. But I think the more important question here is, when did he make that pitch? Did he make that pitch sometime between the time Halloween Ends came out at the end of 2022 and when the writer's strike started in 2023? Because you'll notice above, he states, and I want everybody to pay attention to this, because I haven't seen anybody mention this today, last night, pardon me. But it's really Universal's play. Well, the problem with that is it's not Universal's play, and you would think that if someone has just made a pitch about the TV series, they would know who is the distributor and the rights owner for this project. And it's not Universal, as we know. Miramax ended up winning the rights. unless, of course, there's something going on with the movie rights and Universal has found a way to retain those post Halloween ends. I don't know, but to me, this sounds like a guy who has made a pitch. And I want to watch what I say here because our intent is to have Dwight on this channel in the not too distant future. But it just, to me, it doesn't add up, Jason. I look at that and I say, but it's really Universal's play. It's possibly just as simple as he mixed up Universal and Miramax. It really is. But the other side of this makes me go, we're talking about an old pitch that may not be valid anymore. What are your thoughts? And to you, does this work surrounding a story around Jamie and Rachel? It's what you wanted. It's how do you do it, especially if it's 30 years later?
Yeah, number one, like you said, you have to get Daniel Harris and Ellie Cornell back for sure. That has to. You could recast, but I don't. The fans wouldn't just recognize what it is. Could you play those characters? Could a good actress play? Of course they could. Of course they could play those characters. But I think it's important to get them back. You really have to, man. You'd really have to take your time on this, and flesh out where they are now, and like what what happened to them. You may have to fill some people in who are not the biggest Halloween fans,
Well, and that's it, right?
right?
For me, Halloween 4 Part 2 doesn't work. This is coming from a guy who has that movie as his favorite in the franchise. It doesn't, if you have any understanding as to how the industry works on any level whatsoever, then you know that if you're doing a sequel directly to Halloween 4, you're talking about a very niche audience, more niche than just the Halloween audience themselves. And Halloween fans might not think so, but the Halloween audience is niche compared to things like Marvel and Star Wars and DC and you name. Some might even say compared to Friday the 13th and Elm Street. I'm not sure I agree with that, but some do say it. I just think when you're doing something new, like if we're having, for example, Jason, if we're having people over for this brand new Halloween TV show and you're sitting down to watch episode 1, you should not have to explain to the other people watching your TV show who every character is and what the story was that came before. That should be done on screen and not taking very much time. I think you need to take Danielle Harris and Ellie Cornell, put them back in the roles of Jamie and Rachel if you were to do this, and you need to craft a new story that focuses simply on where they are today. You can touch briefly on the events of H4 and catch up the audience, what happened. But to me, this story needs to stand on its own. If it does not stand on its own, if it does not warrant 6 or 8 or 10 episodes of a TV series, then you don't do it. You start fresh with characters that don't have any baggage. And hey, again, coming from the guy that likes this movie more than the rest, I just think practically, if you're someone that's hoping for this to happen, some of the things that Dwight is saying are simply not going to work. It really is that simple. You cannot call a Halloween TV series Halloween 4 Part 2. Just being honest.
And another thing you'd have to, I don't know if you'd have to address this, but because in that timeline, Laurie Strode is locked up, is she not?
Dead.
Or
She's dead. She died in a car accident, supposedly.
oh, okay. So I get the timelines mixed up. Some of them.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's dead supposedly. Okay, so you don't have to address that. That's been
Literally
she's
a passing line in the TV series. Well, my mom died in a car accident after being, involved with the cycle. And I would think a lot of it, given where H4 ends up, is you're going to be dealing with Jamie Lloyd's mental health. I know people might not want to go down that route, but like you have no choice. Look at where H4 ended. You do that, you have to explore it. You have a little girl, and I forget how old she is in the movie, standing at the top of the stairs with scissors in her hand, who is just, butchered her her
maybe she's fine now, let's say, but maybe something triggers it. Maybe there's another murder in somewhere, or maybe they're not in Haddonfield yet. Maybe they've both moved away. Well, he said the East Coast, right? Oh,
Well,
maybe.
that's where she currently is located, the actress.
Oh, okay. Um, Maybe something happens in Haddonfield where there's some murder that has nothing to do with Michael Myers, let's say, and it just triggers something in her own psyche where she's starting getting suspicious or something that because they're gonna have to have. I would think Michael would have to come back, or maybe a build up to it.
For sure. I
Um,
mean, we Dean and I have been talking about this a lot on Tonight in Haddonfield, and we've just discussed how, in our opinion, we think if you make Michael Myers just a guy, something a little more believable, you can ground the story a little more, which I think was supposed to be the intent with the new movies, and obviously it strayed away from it a little bit, and then kind of forcibly went back to it at the end of Ends. Um, just make him the Shape. Don't make him this guy that every single person knows. Focus on to me, a TV series doesn't work unless you're going to build interesting protagonists that you want to follow for 6, 7, 8 episodes. Otherwise, you're just having a bunch of people out there that are cannon fodder to be killed off. And to do that for 6 to 8 episodes, you'd have to be the most diehard Halloween fan to believe that that's going to be successful.
well, that's the problem too. This is the problem with something like this in a TV show. They're gonna want Michael right away. I mean, I don't necessarily. It just depends how well Rachel and Jamie Lloyd can carry this story. Like you said, it's the way it's shaped. How are they shaping it up? If I could just off course a little bit, once this Camp Crystal Lake show comes out, if it's a success, if people really like it, I think that's going to say a lot about what to do in horror TV. Not that horror TV shows haven't worked, but that's from a big iconic franchise. Like I said, I keep bringing Bates Motel up, how they modernized Psycho and how it was all about the characters, that it was about this, the mother and the son, right? They really need the character. This has to be character, 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 man.
Oh, it's got to be character driven. Like you need people that you're going to cheer for. It's that simple. You need rooting interest. That's not just, hey, I'm a Michael Myers fanboy and I want to see him kill a lot of people. The show has to be more successful than that. The show, Tucker. Sorry about that, guys. The show has to be successful. Like, my mother and father-in-law are here right now, and I should be able to say to them, "You should watch this show because," and and the the if my pitch is Halloween 4 Part 2, hey, here's 8 episodes of Halloween 4 Part 2. Guess what? They're probably not watching it. It's that simple. You need to be able to sell it to so many different people. That's why it's so hard to get anything greenlit. Yeah, there's a rights deal in place, and yeah, there's a TV series coming. But is there something greenlit in a production that's about to start in the next month? No, there isn't right now. They're very much still exploring where things are going. And this reads to me as if someone has tried to do the post H4 pitch and that it's not going to go through. Otherwise, you're probably not revealing to bloody disgusting all these details.
Yeah,
Unless,
yeah,
unless
like
it's 2024, and one of the ways that you put pressure on people with any business deal is make it public and get the public to put the pressure on. But again, this reads to me as something that's not going to happen.
yeah, I think people are just excited about bringing big franchises to TV, which I think is a good idea. Obviously they're doing it with Friday the 13th. I mean, let's keep in mind this is just a pitch. This is just a director of H4 saying, "I got it." I mean, Mike Flanagan has a pitch for Nightmare on Elm Street, but he hasn't got that chance to sit in that room, right? So to give this
Oh,
pitch,
well, we do know Dwight did have the chance. He did say he sat down with Malik and made the
well,
pitch.
that's
It's not
well,
just
that's
so.
but yeah, well, so I mean, I don't know. There's also a business side to all this. Like, do they want to do it? Is it? We all know Halloween makes money. I mean,
It's
that's
also, what does Miramax want? They're the ones that just paid the rights fee. It's not just about what Malaka Cad
yeah.
wants.
So Miramax is the new owner. They're new owners, right?
They're the new rights, I guess you could say, leaseholders for the Halloween TV series. I have no idea how many seasons it was for. They haven't said, other than their plan right now is a Halloween cinematic universe. Wolfman Got Nards put out this fan made poster a couple months ago where it's like Haddonfield and it has the knife coming down, and like the show is just called Haddonfield. And to me, that works. If you make a show called Haddonfield where Michael can be hinted at, and there's not this long history of him either, and you might see him in the shadows, and that's all you do is you see him in the shadows for 4 or 5 episodes where focusing on the other characters before he finally comes out and makes his impact. Then all of a sudden you have a story, because were your protagonist interesting enough, and did they have unique enough things going on with them on screen that you were able to keep your audience's attention for 4 or 5 episodes? People turn off TV series after not liking what they see after 10 minutes into the first episode, let alone 4 or 5 episodes.
Oh yeah, you got to grab them on that the first episode. It's so crucial, and usually at the end of that episode, there's usually a big, I don't know, like cliffhanger, or there's something that's like, oh, I got to watch the next one. I got to watch the next one, right? Um, like I try to watch shows as much as I can, but I don't obviously don't get the time as much being a content creator. It's tough, but my
It's
wife
so
watches a lot of
it's so hard
shows.
to keep up, man. Like
What's that?
it's so hard to keep up with everything. Like
Yeah.
I'd love to cover more on the channel, but I got a job away from this, and this is what it's like to be able to put out YouTube content and to be able to make a part-time living off of it. It takes a ton of commitment and a ton of hours, and you can't just whip something up, because guess what? Your audience is going to let you know you're putting half the effort in you were before, and your audience is going to deteriorate. And it's not any different for Hollywood. It's done on a greater scale for a lot more money.
Yeah.
So again, if you can't
It's
capture
it's
your
like
audience,
it's like I haven't seen the new Godzilla yet, but people are telling me like the budget, the amount of money the guy had was like nothing. But it sounds like he put the focus on character.
is that the Monarch one?
-1. It was like 15 million or something like that. Think
Yeah,
about that. A movie of that scale for 15 million.
it's nuts.
Like
It's almost
it
never done before, right? So, or not done today in today's day and age.
so that's why I'm excited. I'm really excited to see that because of that. And I remember I have a big friend on another channel, huge Godzilla fan. I remember that shot came up with Godzilla's eyes coming up and the boat, he's behind the boat. And so I sent them the picture and I go, "This looks fucking promising." That shot, I said,
You'd
it's
be
an
ashamed
excellent.
of me of what my favorite Godzilla movie is. So.
I'm
Yeah.
actually I'm covering it in March. I'm a King Kong guy. So I haven't seen a lot of Godzilla, so I'm gonna be getting into a lot of that stuff in March. But yeah.
We showed Jensen Godzilla. Like I don't even remember. There's no subtitle to it. It's the one with like all the black and green marketing, and it has what's his face from Ferris Bueller's Day Off in it.
Oh, that's the remake, I guess so. 1998 one.
Yeah. So we watched that one. And he took to the parts where Godzilla was in it, but I hadn't seen that movie since like my younger brother would have been like a kid when I seen that movie. And I don't remember the CGI on Godzilla being so damn bad and hard to watch. It's pretty awful. Troy Grubb says in a question, I don't think a sequel to Halloween 4, a proper one, will happen. I just think too much time has passed. It would be too confusing to the casual moviegoers. I could be wrong. Who knows? Time will tell. I don't think you're wrong. I think you're right. I think you have to create a story that has those two characters in it, and the focus is the new story, and then you only touch on what happened before. So it's in essence, it's a sequel, but it's really not.
Yeah, you gotta. It's tough, man. These got to be really strong characters. They got to have a strong bond. Um, we have to have conflict of some kind. Is maybe they're not on talking terms. Maybe that's the something brings them together, and
Well, I mean,
they
she did, stab the shit out of Rachel's mom.
she stabbed her mom,
Yeah,
Rachel's mom. Yeah,
yeah.
get into it. Get
And
into the
it's not like they
psyche.
spent years. Like, here's another thing that I find troublesome with that relationship is, is there a world where H5 doesn't exist and that relationship continues? In someone's fan fiction, I'm sure. But when you look at the reality of the situation, Jamie didn't know Rachel very long, and vice versa. What, a year? A little over a year?
Yeah.
So maybe not even. I have to go back and watch each 4, but it's not longer than that. And so it's like, how close would they really be if their contact was cut off on that night
Yeah, and addressing Loomis too. Did he get locked up for?
for trying to shoot the little girl?
You fucking bitch!
Oh my god. I believe we have a clip of that here somewhere. Yeah, that's a classic. Kenny says 80s action movies were the bomb back in the day. When I think 80s action movies, the first thing that comes to mind is Sylvester Stallone or Arnold Schwarzenegger.
And come to my channel, everyone. If you like that shit, holy crap. It's testosterone fuel on my channel. Let's
Joel says, how did Tom Welling not become a huge star?
Great actor.
My theory on that is he was surrounded by so much other talent that he doesn't get the credit for what he was able to do in the later seasons of that show. I thought the best actor on that show was Michael Rosenbaum as Lex Luthor. And you're going to get sick of me saying that as we get into the legacy of Smallville. But same with John Glover as Lionel, John Schneider as Jonathan Kent.
He should have been, he would have been a great fit because he's good friends with Jensen and Jared. He would have been a great fit if they had a role for him in Supernatural.
I thought for sure both of those guys were going over to Supernatural, even if it was just one-off guest appearances. They're close to both of them, and it just never happened. One of those cases where, hey, we're friends, but we're not working together.
I don't know why Jensen's not getting more movies. He could be good in an action movie.
He's up for a movie right now. Whether he gets it or not, he's believed to be one of the finalists for James Gunn's Batman. I forget what that movie is called. So,
yeah, I think
like Batman and Damien, I believe.
Maybe the Supernatural fame, they had to let it breathe for a bit.
He's also in The Boys. I've only seen like a season or two of The Boys, but I know he's pretty popular over there, and I know Jared went on to do the reboot of Texas Ranger.
Yes. I've always liked. I think he's the greatest actor on the show, Supernatural. I've always really liked him. Supernatural always had this real. I know this may sound silly, but just think about it. Had this real Dukes of Hazzard quality as far as the brothers go. Like with their car, and it's just horror. That's all, and I've always liked that dynamics between them, like Bo and Luke Duke from the old Dukes of Hazzard show. But yeah,
Jose says Blumhouse or Miramax, which one is the best? Oh boy, well, Miramax has done a lot of the funding of Halloween movies over time. But as much as I don't like the end result of Blumhouse, I think you'd be foolish to underestimate what that company's done. Even Halloween Ends is financially successful.
Yeah. They got to keep it going. Like that, the latest one there I hear is just, it's rough. The swim one.
Oh no, the swim one. I'd say I didn't see that, but The Exorcist Believer got just trashed by just about everybody. And the problem there, David Gordon Green's out there, by the way. Dean and I are going to cover that more on Monday. But David Gordon Green is done with that project, which we thought might happen. We've speculated for a while. But they spent $400 million on the rights to make an Exorcist trilogy. It's bananas.
It's not as bad as people are making out to be. It starts so good. That's what was so unfortunate.
Mm-hmm. The last act is where people are just like, I'm out. I'm done.
It just got into real generic territory, but you had such a good thing going in the first 30 minutes. Like, have you seen Prisoners, where the two girls go missing?
No.
Okay, that's a really good movie. But anyways,
Wait,
I like how that starts.
Is that with
Hugh Jackman and
Hugh Jackman? Okay, I thought it was. Wait, Jake Gyllenhaal? Is he in that one?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I have seen that a long time ago. Yeah,
but that's the way The Exorcist started, with these two girls going missing. I go, wow, this is good so far. But then I'm like, why are you introducing the legacy characters when they don't really have nothing to do with this? Like that, it felt like two different people writing it. And maybe it was.
Might have been. Entertainment Wizard says Phantom Empire. Have it start with a narration by Jamie talking about what happened in 1988 and the fact that she suddenly lost control and attacked her stepmom and suddenly regained control, and she does not know why. I think one of the ways that you would open a project like that would definitely for you to have Jamie or Rachel narrate it. I'm going to throw a curveball at you guys though. What if Rachel was the main character and Jamie was the supporting character? Just for a switch. Like if we're talking pure acting talent, I'm sorry, but I'm going with Ellie Cornell first. I just simply am. But I think you have them both as co-leads. I would hate to see a movie where it's like 85% 85% Jamie and 15% Rachel. I wouldn't want that. I'd want, kind of like you put it, Jason, is, a story about them both. And like if we're talking 30 years later, if you were to develop this into a TV series, right there, hopefully Jamie's not still locked up, because you then give her the ability to have a spouse, to have a family. You give Rachel the ability to have a spouse, have a family, and all of a sudden, depending on how those characters are written and who is playing them, you have more interests in the show than just the two, but they're all sprung off from just the two who were inadvertently, maybe not to their knowledge, spun off from who? Michael Myers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's definitely got to be about this relationship between them two, for sure. And how does has Daniel Harris ever expressed interest in returning to this
Oh
character?
yeah. Yeah, she made it very clear that she wanted to make a pitch to Malaka Cad post Halloween Ends. Also, by the way, I hear someone put on their YouTube channel that Malaka Cad was apparently very, upset with Danielle Harris and the whole bit that happened between her and Jamie Lee Curtis at the premiere of Halloween Ends. And to my knowledge, that couldn't be further from the truth. To my knowledge, Malaka Cad was very, very done with what was going on with that trilogy by the end of it. Again, that's just all I've heard. Just be hearing it from different people. There could be grains of truth in both, but I've never heard that Malaka Cad was pissed at Danielle Harris. And honestly, when you hear Danielle Harris and Scout Taylor Compton, relive their experience on that night, I think they had a reason to be pissed off, frankly. Dean's H4 sequel pitch set in modern day, bring back Ellie Cornell and Danielle Harris. They're no longer legally foster siblings because Jamie's now an adult, but they've remain friends and in contact.
Like that.
I'd go the route of Jamie by the end of H4 and how she attacked her foster mom. She's gone through years of therapy trying to understand why it happened and why she couldn't control it. See, that's good. All of a sudden, you don't just have a horror movie, you have a psychological horror movie. And to me, those always win out on just basic slasher. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, because I mean, we want to keep Michael a mystery as much as we can, but it'd be nice you have an opportunity to go. What was going through Jamie Lloyd's mind? Why did she do this? Like maybe we have a new doctor who's worked with her. You bring back a new Loomis, so to speak, but just don't sartain him.
You don't want to go too cliche on the storyline things, but it could be an offspring of Loomis. That's been pitched before. There was an entire Halloween movie where the main protagonist was Jason Loomis and was a descendant of Dr. Loomis that was pitched, and it's covered in the Taking Shape novel. Strongly encourage everybody to check those out. John says, who do you guys think would be more important to an H4 sequel? The director, Dwight Little, or the writer, Alan McElroy? They're both important. Like you need good writing and good direction, but for me, the direction can't begin or be given a real good chance unless the writing is good. You could have Christopher Nolan directing the next Halloween movie, and if he's going off a script that's utter trash and can only make so many changes to it, it's probably not going to be very good. So
it always starts with a script. It always starts with a story.
Time. You do not rush it.
Yeah.
So for me, it's Alan McElroy. If he were to be interested, he's turned down other opportunities to return to the franchise.
What else has he written? Do we know?
No idea. You'd have to. I mean, I can pull it up here. I believe Halloween 4 was one of his first one of his first writing credits. Let's see. Apologies, producing on the fly. Okay,
My
so
fault. I asking questions.
no worries, man. Where are we here? So we got writer. He's been a writer on Star Trek Discovery over the last 5 years. He's done 8 episodes of that. He wrote Wrong Turn in 2021, Fractured in 2019, one episode of The Night Shift, which was Is it the show I'm thinking of? I think it is the. Nope, that's not the show I'm thinking of.
He did the Vampire Diaries. It looked like. If people
Yeah,
like that stuff.
16 episodes of the Vampire Diaries. Wrong Turn 5, Wrong Turn 4.
Oh god, those are bad.
3 and 2, The Marine, Michael versus Jason short, which I've definitely never seen. Left Behind, the movie.
He did Rapid Fire with Brandon Lee.
Cool. Yeah, look at that. Spawn. So like, has he lit the world on fire? No. But he's been, he's a useful writer with experience and, isn't green going into it, right? So my answer would be McElroy for sure.
I like the last Wrong Turn, actually. I thought that was interesting what he did. Well, if he's the writer, what he did with that was pretty cool. But I can't believe 4 and 5, they're just trash, those movies. Wrong Turn.
Troy says he might have pitched it back in 2022 after Halloween ends. Universal has no more rights to make any more Halloween movies or the show. Well, the movies are kind of up in the air. Nobody has them at the moment, except for Trancas, and it's their choice how they distribute them. But yeah, we talked about that early on. That could have been a slip from Dwight Little, but to me, that reads as he made the pitch not recently and maybe post ends or even before. So,
even my I want to know honest. I want to talk to the chat honestly. You guys got to give me your honest opinion. Are any of you Halloweened out? Like, do you want it to breathe for a little bit? Because even my boy Matt Facci from Facci Cinema told me he's Halloweened out for a little bit right now. So, I mean, I've been marveled out since Endgame, so I haven't seen anything past that.
I agree with the Marvel. And like, I'm not anxious to go back to a like if they said, "Hey, we're doing a sequel to Halloween Ends." I'm probably would I see it? Yeah, I'd see it, and I'd cover it because that's what we do here. But am I excited at the prospect of something like that? Absolutely not. Halloween Ends. Like again, while everybody was figuring out in October what was going on, most of the main staff guys at Fandom Empire knew in like March, April of 2022 where that movie was heading. And it was just this deflate. It's one thing when you read spoilers, you're signing up for the possibility to either be super excited and spoil yourself and spoil the big surprise, or it's so fucking bad, in your opinion, that it deflates your experience going into the movie. And perhaps you never give it a proper chance. I would say I probably fall into that category. I think I did give it a chance, but it's just not a good Halloween movie, in my opinion. Again, to those that love it, I envy you. I'm not capable of it for whatever reason. But yeah, I think there is some Halloween burnout going out. I just don't I don't think that's going to apply because we're not going to see this thing till at the very earliest fall next year, and more than likely 2026.
Yeah, I think it's exciting when Halloween 2018 was announced. This was even before I was on YouTube. Everyone was excited. There was content creators talking about it, and I think it's just exciting where we get to speculate. That's why I think once we get a trailer for this new Friday the 13th show, it's going to say a lot. I think, and I think there'll be a lot of excitement for big franchises like this, and but definitely, it's too bad there wasn't Halloween Friday Nightmare just coming at us. You know what I mean? Because that would be really good competition too.
Joel says I haven't been on board with an H4. We're going to try to get through all your questions here, guys. We got to get ready to wrap this thing up. We usually don't do weekend content anymore here. It's typically family time, so I'm going to try to get through the rest of this chat as quickly as I can. I haven't been on board with an H4 sequel because of the already convoluted franchise timeline. However, I'd like to see the Rachel Carruthers character get a more respectful send-off. Yeah, it is convoluted. People will see a new movie and go, okay, so where does this take place compared to Halloween 5 or Halloween H2O? There's just so many of them. And that's why when you make one of these things now, it has to stand on their own. It can call back. It can even be attached to something that happened in the past, but it needs to be a fresh new movie. Or in this case, a TV show. Kenny says, Sean, how come Halloween has never had a long-running comic book series? Excellent question that I don't have an answer for. There's people that are paid a lot more money than me to figure that one out. But they do have comics, Halloween Night Dance, Halloween, the First Death of Laurie Strode. You can get your hands on them fairly easily digitally, but if you want the physical copies, you are going to pay out the ass because they're all out of print. So we're talking people on eBay selling a 20-page comic for, $100 to $200. It's nuts.
Insane. Wow.
And yeah, you know what, man? I've been burnt out since Endgame too. I watched. I think Jade and I watched Captain. Was it Captain? Not Captain Marvel. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We watched that one, and we watched Loki season 1, and then we tried some other stuff. And I don't know, man. Hey, I'm the huge Star Wars fan who couldn't wait for more Star Wars movies, and now wishes they didn't make half the ones they made. So, yeah, burnout is a very real thing in all aspects of life.
Yeah, I think they need to take their time on a lot more of these things. It seems like this seems like there's just too much of it at once. It's tough to get to watch everything. You know what I mean?
Final question to Mr. Troy Grubb. We might take one or two more as the outros go on, but I'm thinking there won't be a new Halloween movie until the 50th anniversary in 2028. That would be 6 years. Would have passed since Ends. No, I'm not Halloweened out. I understand why some fans are, for sure. Not everything's for everyone. And who knows? They said they're doing this whole Halloween connected universe that's supposed to cross over between TV and movies. A lot of this stuff is done wrong so many times, and then it just it doesn't hit, and it misses, and you don't even get the complete story. Whatever they do, I hope it's well thought out. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, that's more for a niche, that style, because the average person, they're going to be like, so I have to watch all this show. I got to watch 10 episodes before I watch this movie, or I got to watch this before I watch that. I don't know if that template, or if that template works for everything, or it should.
No, it definitely doesn't. Like Star Wars is about to dive into that themselves. Their first new movie that's coming out is going to be The Mandalorian Grogu. For those that don't know who Grogu is, it's Baby Yoda. It's going to focus around them. But guess what? Even with that, you cannot have that movie require people to sit through 3 seasons of The Mandalorian, a season of the Book of Boba Fett, a season of Ahsoka. That's not how cinema works. It's just not. You can allude to things that happen in those TV shows, but if you want it to be successful in the box office, the story has to stand on its own. It's not just a Halloween thing. It's not just a Star Wars thing. The fact is, the thing that drives the box office it's not the diehards. It's how much of the general audience, the general people out there that decide they're going to make a family day out of going to the movie theater on a Friday night or a Saturday or a Sunday are going to go out there. If you don't get them, you're not going to be successful.
I'll give you a good example. When Stallone did Rocky Balboa, you really didn't need to see any of them.
I saw that Christmas night.
Yeah. You didn't need to see any of the Rocky. Like, really, you didn't need to see any of them. I think everyone knows generally what Rocky is. You know what I mean? But you could go into that movie, if you've never watched it, and they kind of browse through things, and he told it in such a good way. That's just one example that I can think of.
John, one with this one. This is a good one because I think this is valid. Is it burnout or just a lack of quality? Or maybe a little of both, especially when talking about the MCU?
You're right. That it could be that, just lack of quality, because everything I watched after so far, I haven't really enjoyed. My kids really like the Shang. Am I saying this wrong? Shang-Chi in the
Shang-Chi, I think. Yeah, I haven't seen that.
They really like it. Apparently, it's really good. But
I haven't even seen the new Ant-Man or the new Guardians. So way behind. Also, not priorities, right? Like if someone had to ask me if I was going to watch, Oppenheimer or Ant-Man, I'm probably watching Oppenheimer. Me
too.
Anyways, that is going to do it for us on this Saturday afternoon. Will Halloween 4, will it get a sequel TV series headed up by Dwight Little and Ellen McElroy? My guess is no, but it was fun to hear from him, and we'll see what happens. You never know. Maybe it will turn out. Jason, where can everybody find you at, man, and when do you do your stuff over on YouTube?
Yeah. I don't really exactly have a set schedule, everyone, but I always put out around, other than shorts, I've been doing a lot more shorts, but that's just little things I can put out.
I haven't done one of those things yet. I don't even know. It's so hard to keep up with how much YouTube changes, and yet when you're part of the partnership program, you probably should. And I've not made one single short for the channel.
Well, let me put it this way. I put something, my favorite scene, I put a Back to the Future clip, 2,000 views overnight. I got like 5 or 6 subscribers.
Wow.
And it's just a way of keeping the channel healthy and active. But I will always put the work into my long content. So, but yeah, I got the Lost Boys coming up. The thing is, I'm doing a behind the scenes edit to show my members, my 4 YouTube members, how I edit. They were really interested on that, so I'm giving them a video of how I edit, how I put things together. But
do you want to edit for me? Because there's nothing I hate more in the world than sitting here and you go and record like 8 minutes of material and you go and edit it into maybe a 6-minute video, and somehow it takes me an hour and a half to do it. It's nuts.
It's time consuming. It's time, but I've gotten good at it, and I find it's the best thing I can do. So, but yeah, usually two videos a week, guys. Tomorrow is my Sunday watch party. I'm doing Beverly Hills Cop tomorrow. If you want to join me tomorrow at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, Eastern Standard Time, we'll be doing a Beverly Hills Cop watch along. So that should be a lot of fun. But you can find me on Instagram too at BT Cinema. And yeah, so come out to the channel. I say go down the rabbit hole. It will take you to video, to video, to video, to video, and you guys can have fun on the channel.
That's awesome, man, and we definitely appreciate you sponsoring this one. Without you and guys like Ryan and guys like Jesse, who, our patrons do a good job of keeping us afloat, but having actual channel sponsors to, not only help push their content, but it helps, support us. And I got 2 kids, so getting paid to do stuff is pretty important on one level or another. You can't do it. It's that simple. I'm going to try to not forget anything here, so bear with me. Next week, we have a loaded week on the channel. Monday night, I don't have a start time for this yet, so I apologize ahead of time. But Zach Arnold makes his return to the channel, and him and I don't think Ryan. I think Ryan's taking some time off. Definitely still thinking about him and his family. But House of the Dragon Season 2 and more Westeros plus Star Wars, that is Monday night. And that will be followed up by Tonight in Haddonfield with Dean and myself, Halloween TV series, pitches, and more. That's also Monday night. Tuesday night is the Empire Strikes Back watch party.
Oh, and, nice.
We don't have. You're welcome to come up to that if you're around. So I think we're starting at 9 p.m. Eastern. It's about 2 hours and 20 minutes long.
Is that Tuesday?
Tuesday night.
Oh, I'm on Fauci's channel, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yeah,
what one is he what?
The first one.
Nice. I'm a sucker for the 2003 movie.
Well, he's doing the whole series. This is just his first episode, so
nice.
I like the original, and Matt's great. He's creative. He's doing he collects points. So every time you see a butt shot, there's points. Kill, there's points. So he's trying different ways to do these watch parties. He's doing a great job. Great guy, great friend.
That is awesome. And then not this Monday, but the following Monday, Dean and I are going to sit down with some guests, and we are going to review Halloween Returns the script. We have our hands on that. We've been going through it, so it's one that's talked about a lot online, and we will cover that. I think the date on that is like January 22nd on the channel. So Halloween Returns, if that's something you're passionate about. We know there's the whole Halloween Returns versus Halloween 2018, which should have been made debate that sparks online basically yearly. But Halloween Returns, Monday, January the 22nd, and a lot more coming to the channel on top of that. So for Jason, for Dean in the chat, Tommy B, he was here a little bit earlier, and everybody else. Oh, didn't forget this. Also, The Legacy of Smallville. We talked about it off the top. It starts the end of January, Thursday nights, edited episodes. That will be myself and Jade doing that, and we're looking forward to it. So stay tuned to the channel for more. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, comment down below, even if you're not a part of the live chat and you're watching after the fact, and click that thumbs up button. It helps other people find the stream and video. For Jason, I'm Sean. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah.